Welcome to the Cricket Betting Podcast. I'm Ed Hawkins. This is the ultimate betting guide to the third Ashes Test. We're brought to you by 7bet.co.uk, a fresh sports betting brand that offers such features as early payout, bet builder, betting insights, ACCA boost and more. Go to 7bet.co.uk and experience world-class betting for yourself. That's 7bet with a 7. Let's say hi to Paul Krishnamurty, who is plus 30.7 on your best bets. Ready to burn for a third Ashes time. Got ginseng, Paul?
I've got the ginseng lined up.
This is a tough one. This is an 11:30 start. When you're going to sleep, I don't know. Perhaps that's the one strategy we need to work out. Don't sleep, Paul. Is that it?
That's my plan. I like this one. This is ideal because you're definitely going to make it through to the tee and hopefully longer.
Richard Mann of sportinglife.com is also here, plus 5.9 on your best bets. All right, Richard?
Yeah, good. Hello, Ed. Yeah, I think this is where we need England to come to the party, isn't it? We're all going to fall asleep if it's a non-event, but if we can finally get an Ashes contest on the go, I think we'll all be awake and looking forward to it. Come on, England.
Right, those best bets come at the end of the show, so stay tuned. It's all on the Ashes third test match here. So to get to that point of best bets for this game, we've got team news, pitch report, in-play strategies, betting nuggets, player win rates. We've done deep dive datas on these ones to try and work out what is actually going to happen in this test. And we are going to tell you exactly what happens. But we must first address England's misery. 2-0 down. We've been here before, Richard Mann. Every Ashes tour down under, bar one that I've covered, has been exactly like this. So familiar story. Apart from, I think, this is the first time I can remember after two tests that an England team or an England captain has come out and basically said they're mentally shot. What are your views, Richard? Because I found it pretty extraordinary. I was expecting them to double down or at least back themselves. And they've gone, it's not working.
Yeah, I do think it was born out of frustration from Stokes a little bit because him and Jacks were the only ones to put up much of a fight towards the end of that game. And actually, and this is going way off course a little bit, I sense a little bit of conflict between Stokes and McCullum now. I kind of think that Stokes doesn't completely buy into this McCullum theory and strategy. I mean, McCullum said they were underprepared, and then Stokes was asked about that, and he said, well, it's the way you prepare. And I'm not sure that's working out. I think Adelaide's a good place though for England to come. I don't want to sound overly positive and have egg on my face, but of all the grounds, it's probably the best batting pitch in Australia. And as we've said time and time again, England need it flat. Weather's been great there this last week. And the bounce is lower than Perth and the Gabba, and it's the sideways movement of the bounce that's been catching the batting out. So if there is a bit of semblance of hope, I think it is the venue. I know Tim Payne's come out this week, Adelaide Strikers head coach for the Big Bash actually, and he said this is the one ground where England really will have no excuses with the bat.
Well, I mean, maybe they should be doubling down on the approach. This is the game when they absolutely have to go hard and be aggressive. We'll see. Paul, I mean, as gamblers, we're always trying to look for value, and the first place we look is the underdog. Do we lean on previous Ashes history here when England go to Australia? Do we try to treat it as an exclusive one-off game, an event in its own right, and ignore all that? And can England bust that trend? Or the other question is, are they completely shot?
Look, everything I know about betting, particularly cricket betting, says, yes, you have to look at the underdog. I mean, I've lost count of the times in my life where even me as an outsider backer has said, look, this is a certainty, this is an odds-on chance, right? This is something I'd pile into at 1-2 or something. And it gets turned over, right? The experiences like that have a profound impact on me in my teens, early 20s, in particular, including in Ashes matches. I mean, just to think of one, we were at Adelaide, 1994 and 1995, Gough and De Freitas, heroics. That was just like, I couldn't see that on what had happened previously in the series, but it happened. There was another game in Melbourne, which I actually backed, I think, in the tour after that, when England were like 8-9 to 1 or something. So it does happen. even when we've had poor sides. And Rich just made a good case there for saying this ground suits them better than the others. And I think there are a lot of variables in there that might throw luck in, like the toss, maybe the weather. So yes, all the conditions are there to say maybe we could get an upset. But then again, if you go on what we've seen so far, 3.7 about England is no value whatsoever. I mean, they've been terrible. They've been like rabbits in the headlight. I don't think this Aussie side is anything special. They are beatable, but England have looked awful and psychologically in a mess.
Okay, Australia 16's on to win that series. AK bets 20-1 Betfred Ladbrokes. AK bets the draw is 28-1. I mean, if you think England are going to get back into it, surely the draw is the bet. Shorter to win 3 than they are 2, and a draw. 5-0 Australia, 2-1 AK bets now. They're the standout. 4-1 Australia, 11-4, 365 Boyles, 4-0, 13-2 Bet MGM Virgin Bet AK bets. Australia 3-1. Sorry, Australia 3-1 correct score, 10-1 generally. And your drawn series, going back to that 28s actually I mentioned, is 30-1 with Power and AK bets. England will have to win 2, and that's a draw, so you're getting 2 more points on that drawn series price rather than the 2-2 correct score. So the 2-2 correct score is the 1 to play. Richard, what's the final score in the series?
I think, well, 5-0 Australia is 3.3 on the machine, so I don't think there's a great deal of value there. I actually think England have got lots of problems, but the bowling's a problem. I can't see how they get 20 wickets, particularly at somewhere like Adelaide. I mean, they've no spinner to call upon. Haven't really looked like taking 20 wickets so far. I know they look great in Perth, but after their first innings at Perth, I should say, after that it's been pretty dire. I personally wouldn't rule out us having a draw match potentially here. I think it's going to be flat this week. I'm not saying England are bankers to make big runs, but a draw's good enough for Australia anyway to retain the Ashes. And then we've always said about Sydney's a potential draw. So I think if you're looking at the correct score market, wanted a play, I'm not mad keen, but Australia 4-0's 9.0 on the exchange. Maybe that's the way. I mean, you could get a draw this week, but it looks one way. I just don't. It looks one way traffic. England may fight with the bat and improve with the bat. I think they'll come on for the run. I can't see how the bowling gets 20 wickets. That's of more concern to me.
Yeah, Mark Wood absence now confirmed, of course, out of the series, and obviously a massive blow. For the reason really that you can see Jofra Archer not lasting the remaining 3 tests. Surely he's going to miss one of those, so England likely to go into at least one of these last 3 tests with a pretty powder puff pace attack. You know, the much vaunted England fast bowling unit may not exist at some point in this series. Paul, any value on those correct scores?
Yeah, I think hopefully. I mean, look, for the last test, I bet 4-1 at 5.1 and I cashed it out 3.8. It's actually gone shorter. So that's the sort of thing you're looking to do, I think, just something in the short term. Look, I don't fancy England here, but 30-1 about a drawn series does have trading value, surely, because the only thing you're taking on there is an Australia win. If it were a draw, you've still got a perfectly live bet, and if England win, you've got a very live bet. I could also make the case, I think Rich makes a good case there, 9.0, not terrible value at all with Sydney there. I mean, again, only thing that's going to screw you there is England winning this match. So maybe do those 2 as a combination and just see where we are after this one.
Okay, let's get on with that third Ashes test. And just time to tell you about the 0% margin feature at 7Bet Sportsbook. The 0% margin feature at 7Bet is designed to offer betting odds that do not include the typical margin added by the bookmaker. Check out more of their features on 7bet.co.uk/features. The third Ashes test starts Tuesday night, 23:30, live on TNT Sports. Australia 5-12 with 7Bet. All these prices 7Bet. Draw 9-1. England 11-5. Come back to Australia's team on a second, because all the talk, of course, is about what changes England are actually going to make. This is what we think they will do, or rather, what I think they will do, and then we'll get Richard's view. So Duckett, Crawley, Bethel coming in for Pope, Root, Brooks, Stokes, Smith, Jacks, Carse, one of Potzel, Tongue, and Jofra Archer. Richard, what are they doing for your money? How are they lining up?
Well, very similar. I do think they'll make a change with Pope at 3. I really hope Will Jack stays in the team. I thought he was one of the few bright spots in the last game. So they either keep him at 8 or move him into the middle order, potentially even 3. But I suspect they're going to get Bethel in. They've wanted this for a while now. I'm hearing sort of off the record behind the scenes that it's Stokes who's been a massive Ollie Pope fan, and were it not for Stokes' backing of Pope, we would have seen Bethel in the team before now. That's what I'm hearing. I don't disclose my sources, but that's what I'm hearing. The other one I would have Josh Tongue in. I think England need a wicket taker. I would obviously play Archer, but I would point out at this stage, for all the huff and puff, what's he taken? Is it 3 wickets in the series so far? People forget that Tongue was England's leading wicket taker in the India series last summer. What did he play? 3 games, and he took 19 wickets. I think I'd play Tongue personally. I would play Archer as well. For me, out of your team, it'd be Tongue for Carse, and I think I would get Potts in as well, someone to try and own off stump. But definitely Tongue, wicket taker.
Yeah, good at mopping up the tail, of
Yeah.
course. Australia, Khawaja, Wetherald, Labuschagne, Smith, Head, Green, Carey, Cummins coming back in, confirmed. Stark, Boland, Lyon, pretty much confirmed as well that Lyon plays. Of course he does, because Adelaide's going to spin. The question mark really is about Khawaja coming back. Where does he bat? Does he come back into open, or they have said he might go into the middle order? Rich?
Yeah, I've got exactly the same team as you. I think he comes back in. Yeah, the middle order's an interesting one, but I think really if you're England, you don't want it to be 250 for 3 and Travis Head walking out. So I suspect Australia will do what England don't want. Khawaja up top and Head at number 5. That's my guess.
Paul, does personnel matter to you at all about England, whether they go with Pope or Bethel or Potts or Tongue?
Not a lot. Pope and Bethel, no, not really. You're probably talking about the difference of 10, 20 runs either way in the match. I would say, I mean, Rich was saying Tongue for Carse. Now, I'd say Carse has got to be in just for his batting, if nothing else. And he is the top wicket taker by a long way from the main bowlers. No, the only thing that would make a difference if we had a spinner. I mean, we've got to pick Jacks again, because I think we're definitely going to need a spinner in this. So I think it's going to be a dry pitch, and any chance of winning is going to need effective spinners in the second innings.
All right, let's get on to the pitch report. Loads of stats related to the pitch in play. We've done some big studies on when wickets are falling at Adelaide. That's to come. There was a low-scoring test in 2024 at Adelaide, for all the talk of this being the best batting wicket in the country, and statistically it is. That was against West Indies. It wasn't a day-night match. West Indies 188 and 120 played, Australia 283 and 26 for no wicket. Cummins and Hazelwood 4 wickets apiece in that first innings of the match. Shamar 5 in the second innings of the match. In 2018, that's when we go back to the last, or rather the previous day-night day test, India versus Australia, another low-scoring match. India won, defending 3-2-3. The highest score in the game was 307. And in Sheffield Shield cricket, last 2 years, these are day games. Only 3 of the 4 won by the team batting second. First match scores of 350 for 9, 228, 195, 307, and 93. It's not an absolute guaranteed road, but Richard Mann might disagree. More of his famed inside info that he's getting hold of all of a sudden.
No, just one of the coaches at Port Adelaide Cricket Club. He played grade A cricket over there, and he was telling me this morning the weather's been beautiful there for the past week or so. Mid-30s, He says that because if you've seen on social media at the moment, the pitch looks very green 4 days out. But we've seen that a lot in England, haven't we? They'll leave plenty of grass on and then they'll do a final cut because it's the only way when it's really hot to stop the pitch breaking up. He's adamant that it'll be an absolute road. He says the weather's glorious. It'll be an absolute road. Leaving grass on just to ensure it doesn't break up days 4 and 5. Should we get that far? I must admit, I'm a little bit apprehensive because that makes it sound like a runs, and I'm still sceptical about England in that circumstance. But look, that's the local info. Hot weather, good pitch.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to be a bit sceptical about England when you've got some evidence that it's not an absolute runway, Paul. Thoughts on those pitch stats and where you might be playing?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not reading too much into past stats because so many of the games have been day-night matches in the last 10 years. And while my gut says it's going to be a good backing wicket, and I think in the old Adelaide tradition and from the one we know from the Bash, and enhanced by Rich's information, those Sheffield Shield scores and the small 3-day matches in the last decade, 3-day tests, 400 was only breached once. So it doesn't sound like a road. And my instinct is probably that because we're all expecting a road, because that is the general reputation, par's going to be set too high yet again for two pretty dodgy batting sides, to be honest.
Yes, I wouldn't be averse to be considering taking on England high lines with the bat. That's the pitch done. That's your team news done. Very simple question to Richard Mann. Who wins the match?
Well, I mean, Australia, the obvious one. I don't, and Paul's going to scratch his head and shake his head at me. I don't think the draw is a shocking price at 12.0 on the exchange because if Australia bat first, and particularly given that they just need a draw, and Smith and I mean, we'll get on to Labuschagne in a minute. Record is unbelievable on this ground. They could make a massive score, and England might only need to bat half decent in the first innings, get past the follow-on, and suddenly that's half, doesn't it? So I won't mind starting off at that. God, I've got so much trepidation because it involves England batting well, but I mean it's a big price, given the possible circumstances.
Yeah, I've got grave concerns about England if they lose a toss and they're bowling first on this one. Heads could drop very, very quickly indeed. You know, and if Australia are getting 400, are getting up to 400, and they know they're going to concede 400, 500, then I think England are out and they will check out. Paul, same question is who wins the match, but also the patented cricket betting podcast test match odds trade strategy. What do you do with that here?
Okay, well, first of all, I'm just going to say, Rich, I'm not shaking my head at you at all. In fact, I will get more into that on the in-play discussion, right? But I don't entirely disagree. Look, I'm going to say my prediction for the match is Australia will win and that it will be a dry pitch, a good pitch, but that Nathan Lyon will exploit conditions in the second innings and bowl us out. On the in-play strategy, now this depends on the price because the rules are that in order to do it, the favourite has to be 1.5 or higher. Now, at the moment, it is because it's 1.5 for Australia on the exchange. So on current prices, you would be placing an order, let's just say 2 points for Australia at 2.08, and then you double the England odds as well. So you'd have 0.65 units at 6.4 England. But it might change because Australia might go shorter after the toss, in which case it might not be a bet, or they might drift and the odds will be different. I will update that on the in the free Telegram group exactly where the targets are. But just to quickly add on that, I mean, that strategy, the ideal scenario for that strategy is to draw shortening up, right? And I think Rich just made a pretty good case for it.
Nice little name check for the free Telegram channel, which you can get subscribed to in the comments below. There's also the VIP channel available. We are in very healthy profits indeed on the VIP channel. That's in-play bets and bets of all sorts into your Telegram channel from Richard, Paul, and myself across all the live matches going on all over the world. ILT20, you've got the Big Bash starting on the Sunday. You can listen to our Big Bash preview, by the way. That was our previous episode. So loads happening on the VIP and loads of evidence that we are making money. Richard, what else happens in the game? One more thing.
Right, Paul's just sort of give me the tee up there, but Nathan Lyon comes back in. Unfortunately, he's not really priced up on a lot of markets at the moment. I'm not sure bookmakers are convinced he plays, but he will definitely play. I think with the weather being hot, it'll dry out. I think if you can get a top Australia bowler market up second innings, Lyon would be a man. Not all firms do that. But even just trying to back Lyon over 2.5 wickets, second innings. I mean, I've just had a quick look at his Adelaide record. Way back 2012, 4 wickets second innings. India, 3 wickets against South Africa in 2012 as well. What was a 7 for against India in 2014, second innings, a 3 for against South Africa, a 6 for against India, second innings in 2018. I mean, the list goes on. I could labour the point, but Lyon second innings at Adelaide, absolute machine. And I suspect as well the other factor is Cummins. He won't want to break his back, will he, coming back? So if Lyon can do a bit more bowling second innings and he hasn't played as well, that's the ideal scenario for this bet. Lyon bowl plenty of overs, take plenty of wickets, and hopefully we've got some nice prices about him.
Well, one more thing that happens in the game, a nugget.
Okay, do you mind if I just do 2?
You can have as many as you like, actually.
Okay, so I don't think an innings victory should be ruled out here. Betfair are 13-2, an Australian innings victory. Bet365 are 11-2 either side for an innings victory. And I think I would take the 11-2 just because I think if I backed Australia when England did it, I'd kill myself. Now, I always talk about test match end, right? I haven't got it right in the first 2 matches. But I think here the value in this case, because we're expecting decent batting conditions in the first innings, so the game should drag on a bit. I think day 4 evening at 9.5 is huge value. I think that's a really big price because I always like to do the evening session anyway because you can get the extra half hour. So you might well end up with like a 35, you need 40 over session there. And you could potentially cover that either side with 7.5, 13-2, day 4 p.m. or 11-1, day 5 a.m. That seems like a pretty reasonable price too.
Okay, thanks, Paul. Don't forget to get involved with crickstats.ai. It's the best cricket betting tool. You can subscribe using the code POD25 to get a discount. It's where we get a lot of our cricket betting data, and there's no site quite like it in terms of finding betting specific statistics for you to help you with your wagers. Let's talk in play and in play strategies, and in the spirit of working out when this Adelaide pitch is at its best, at its worst, if it ever is actually significantly poorer. When do wickets fall or when they don't? These are the questions we've been trying to answer. So it looks at the last 5 Sheffield Shield matches in the daytime and 1 test match. That's the 2024 test match. And we've looked at first and second innings, just a couple of spots on trends. So 2 times as many wickets have fallen in the 20 to 40 over mark in the first innings than the 60 to 80. That's 18 wickets in that 20 to 40 over bracket as opposed to 8 in 60 to 80 overs. So batting getting significantly easier after the 40 over mark, and combining 20 to 60 overs as a bracket, 30 wickets have fallen compared to the next 40, which is just 16. In the second innings, just 6 wickets have fallen in the 40 to 60 bracket. That is in the second innings. So pretty decent for batting, but that is your sweet spot for when runs should be scored, that 40 to 60 spell. So you're talking about markets such as a fall of next wicket or player individual runs, I think, to try and exploit there. We should say that there is evidence that wickets do fall in clusters, which is also known as a collapse, if you like. 6 times number of wickets in the first innings study, more than 3 wickets in a 20-over bracket before 18 overs, and 5 times in the second innings. Rich, what you got in play?
Yeah, get your notepads out for that. Was great. I do think if Australia bat first and look, we want to have a better look at the pitch. I do think they could make a really, really big score. I'm a bit wary of the lines because, as Paul said, they have been too high, but I just don't have faith in England taking 10, 20 wickets. The other one, and I just mentioned it, Lyon, and I know I'm labouring the point here, but he's finally in, and we talked about that next method of dismissal, stumping. Crawley, if he can stay in long enough, Brook, if he can stay in long enough, maybe Jamie Smith, they'll run at Lyon, and I think we'll get an Earth and Lyon stumping in this series, I really do. Now he's finally into the game, so I am going to stick with that this week, and hopefully someone runs past one.
Paul, anything in play?
Yeah, well, the key to it all is this draw price. I think it's a decent back to lay now, but it could well get even better if there's an early wicket, which there probably will be, right? It's 12.0 now. Wouldn't be surprised if it was 1, 2 early wickets and it goes out to 20. Now, many ways this can happen. First of all, get a good first innings total, which we've already discussed. Every chance there is a good chance that the draw is in the game, in play after 2 days. But secondly, again, we're quite a long way out for this, and I don't like to put too much store in weather forecasts. But the weather forecast I looked at before, I think it was AccuWeather, it could have been World Weather Online, has rain on day 5. It had 40% all day, right? After very hot weather. So this makes me wonder again, if we're in a situation where, let's just say, Australia bat first, they get 450, they declare at tea, or they're out at tea, day 2. England start okay, get to 100 for 2. And then the day 5 weather forecast is for rain. What is it then? It's like 7 to 4 or something. So I think there's some back to lay potential, definitely.
Right, remember, best bets come at the end of the show, and a reminder to sub up to that VIP channel in the comments below to get betting tips straight to your Telegram channel, and get subbed up on crickstats.ai, and get signed up as well, please, to 7bet.co.uk if you like the cricket betting podcast. If you could sign up to those guys, that helps us keep coming back every single week to give you this info. Right, players to follow, players to avoid. Suspect we have a few to get involved with. Khawaja, an immediate short for me if he's opening the batting. I know Paul Krishnamurty would say word on Marnus Labuschagne runs first up. Paul.
Yeah, so based on the assumption we're going to get a good pitch first up, Labuschagne for me is the in-form Aussie batsman, and 7bet have his runs for the first innings at just 29.5. I think that's a rock solid over. You can also get 11 to 2 about a Labuschagne ton. I like that. I quite like 5 to 1 on a Joe Root ton. Certainly in form of the last year, that's value and a good pitch. And my old favourite, 15 to 8, Harry Brook, first innings 50. I think that's Star Sports. That has landed 17 out of 32 first innings in Test match. So it should be better, shorter than even money. And we're expecting a good pitch. That's got to be value.
Rich, Khawaja short for you. Bethel, no first class ton. Bethel, of course.
Khawaja definitely, especially if I actually plays. He does bowl well at the lefties. I'm against Brook. I have been all along, so me and Paul are going to disagree here. 7bet, the standout, 31.5, I think his first innings runs. That's high compared to other firms. I would go unders. I haven't seen enough evidence to suggest, on this tour, Paul, may I add, I haven't seen enough evidence to suggest I want to be buying his runs. So yeah, a couple of shorts there. I completely agree about Labuschagne. we'll get on later in best bets. I was hoping I could bag Labuschagne first innings ton in the best bets, but I think me and Paul might have an arm wrestle for this one.
Righty, to the top markets and win rates for you. So Australia top first innings run scorer, Labuschagne, as mentioned, is winning 17.6% of the time. We're getting 4-1 generally. So no sugar on Labuschagne. Smith, who likely will be all the rage, 2 wins in 19 now on first innings top bat, giving him a win rate of 10.5%, which really is actually pathetic, I'm afraid, for 31-10 chance with Unibet. I mean, Labuschagne does have an absolutely tremendous record at Adelaide, so you could make up that, 3 and a bit percent to push you over the 20% margin if you want to take that 4-1. Maybe it's milestone betting for your batsman on a flat one. Cummins 5 wins in 16, so that's 31%. You're getting 11-4. Top Australia first innings bowler, Sky Bet Power, Betfair Sportsbook. His pipping start by 1%. Is this Cummins time to come in and show why he is the man to follow? Rich, who are you on and how are you following them?
Yeah, I'm a Labuschagne man. I thought I'd seen 6-1 with 365 Labuschagne first innings ton, but I've just been looking there. So yeah, absolutely Labuschagne. I think you'd stick with Stark, Australia bowler, wouldn't you? Just given the form, and we know his body's fine. But like I said, look at second innings Nathan Lyon. I think you have to try and get a price on top Australia bowler second innings, and Lyon will undoubtedly be a man.
Paul, who are you for?
Well, for me, the number one bet is Bet365 11-8 on Nathan Lyon hitting taking over 4.5 wickets. I think that he will comfortably do that on this pitch. And I've got to stick with my favourite, who landed in the first match and went very well, went a lot shorter in the second. Alex Carey, 12-1, top first innings run scorer with Bet365. And he's 8-1 to hit the most sixes in the first innings for Australia, which, as I've said in the previous 2 matches, he has an excellent record. I think he's second only to Head in this lineup, and there's nothing in it. And I mean, the logic of it also is that it's good value because Carey bats with a tail, so he's bound to have a good slog cut from time to time.
Lovely stuff. We're going to move on to England. Don't forget to sub up to that VIP channel. This is the Cricket Betting Podcast. I'm going to give you a live winner as it happens. Today's bet was Jason Holders to go over performance points, and he's done it. And he's only bowled what? 2.3 overs. There you go. 2 wickets for Holder. Follow us on the VIP. Come on, get involved. Now, England, we're going to find some winners on the tops markets. These are your key rates. Top first innings bat, Root 24%, just 1% out, 3-1, 365 Boyle, Sky Bet Power, Betfair Sportsbook. Brook 20%, you bang on the line, 4-1 Sky Bet Power, Betfair Sportsbook. I mean, this is a really interesting one. I'd like Rich's view or Paul's view on Zach Crawley, who did look at like $1 million in that last test. 22% win rate, which is amazing, really, considering how often he fails. 7-1 top England bat in the first innings with Quinbet, and no bounce or lateral movement. Atco Atkinson, I don't think he'll play. I think he might be one of these weak men in the England dressing room. 26.7% win rate, 3-1. BetMGM Star, Virgin Bet. Rich, picks for you. And also, by the way, Rich, Crawley, I can't believe we didn't discuss this earlier, but driving on the up at Perth, where he played at the Bash.
Yeah.
I mean, he had played on that ground.
Yeah,
anyway, go ahead.
No, you're right. And then again at the Gabba, but you're right. He looked brilliantly, didn't look brilliant at Brisbane. This is why they've picked him, because of these pitches, and Adelaide should be absolutely perfect for him. I agree, actually. I think he's a good price in the first innings. A few doubts about a few of them. Brook just looks a little bit out of form. I do worry about Stokes now. Nathan Lyon's back in. That hasn't been discussed enough elsewhere, but that's an issue for him. And on that comes second innings, and this has been one of your projects, Ed. But Root, obviously, you kept banging the drum. Really good record second innings. But I think, again, this could be more applicable here. when Lyon's bowling a lot of the overs and the challenge against spin, and Root is probably the best player with spin in the world, and the others struggle. So I think Root's second innings in particular becomes a real good bet, and I suspect you'll be itching to get involved on the VIP with that one. And England top bowler Josh Tongue first innings if he plays. Like he's a wicket taker anyway, but I think they'll have him against the tail, and the rest of them don't look like they could knock the skin off a rice pudding, I'm afraid.
I had rice pudding yesterday.
Lovely.
Yeah. Paul, what do you got?
England run score is not a market that really excites me very much, but I'll absolutely endorse what you're saying about Crawley. That seems like a value bet at sevens. For the bowler, it's got to be Bryden Cast 3-1. This might save my series actually, because I had 2 points at 13-2 in best bets on him being top England wicket taker, and he's leading on 9, Stokes on 8, and the next best on 3. We know they're juggling the others about, so I'm very confident about that. But yeah, those two, Crawley and Cast.
Crawley and Cast, there you go. Those are Paul's picks. Have we got any other bids on player markets, Rich, and then Paul, or do you want me to move on?
I'm just about done.
Yeah, Paul?
I'm just going to say I'm going to have a combination. Man of the match, I think it'll be an Aussie, and I think just based on what I said, 12-1 Labuschagne, 20-1 Nathan Lyon, that's a pretty decent Dutch.
I think we've pretty much got a consensus on Labuschagne. I know I haven't piped up much, but I'm very keen on him getting some runs.
What is it? 70 averages here in 6 test matches, 3 tons and 250s. I mean, that's just ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah. He's just got a great record, and he has looked in good form. I just can't believe
he left a big one out there at the Gabba first innings, didn't he?
Yeah, I just can't believe England get away without with Labuschagne not hurting them significantly in this series. Nothing wrong with keep going in on Labuschagne from this point. Righty, let's get to 7Bet special. Please go and have a go at this. As I said, 7Bet are our sponsors. They give us loads of support, and we'd like you to subscribe with them and start depositing so we can keep coming back to you into your ears every week. That's why we are doing it every week, because of 7Bet. We're all in it together. Bet £10, get a £10 free bet with the promo code WFB10. First deposit £10, minimum £10 stake, £10 free bet, minimum odds even money. Maximum winnings £100, 5-day expiry, bonus T's and C's apply. That should be one of those adverts for people just talking really quickly. Best bets time. Both Paul and Richard have 5 units to spend. A reminder that we are in profits from our best bets. These are free tips on the Cricket Betting Podcast. Paul plus 30.7, Richard Mann plus 5.9, who's come back absolutely superbly and just shown what it takes for the mental fortitude to keep taking the wrong prices. Richard Mann has absolutely done it. And let's go to Richard Mann for his 5 units.
Right, Paul, I'm bagging Labuschagne ton. Is that okay?
That's fine. I've got him anyway.
I don't think he has much choice, Richard, actually, considering you've just said it, but there you go.
Well, he's got a massive lead on me anyway, so he can give me this one. So I'll kick off a point. Manus Labuschagne, first innings ton at 6-1, bet 365, we've just seen. 1.5 points, Josh Tongue, top England first innings bowler, 100-30, that's general. 1.5 points, Harry Brook, under 31.5 runs in the first innings. That's stand out with 7Bet. That just looks way too high to me. And then final point, I'm just going to do a simple trade here. 1 point on the draw at 12.0 on Betfair Exchange, and then place an order to lay back at 5.5, which is 9-2. That's me done.
Paul Krishnamurty with your best bets for the third Ashes test.
Okay, so 2 points, Manus Labuschagne over 29.5 first innings runs, 5-6, that's with 7Bet. 2 points, Nathan Lyon to take over 4.5 wickets at 11-8, that's bet 365. And then I will split a point, half a point, Alex Carey top first innings run scorer 12-1 with bet 365, and 8-1. to hit the most sixes for Australia in the first innings with Bet365.
There you go, pens and papers for those ones. This has been the Cricket Betting Podcast, telling you exactly what happens in the third Ashes Test match. I've got a decent record in this Ashes series so far. The bets do not stop here. They continue on the VIP channel, live into your Telegram channel. We'll be online from 11:30 on Tuesday night. We'll be through the night, making sure we find you the best value. Don't forget to subscribe in those comments below. Get depositing on 7bet, please, so we can keep coming back with the show every week. This has been the Cricket Betting Podcast with me, Ed Hawkins, Richard Mann, and Paul Krishnamurti, and we will see you next time.